we're back with another episode of Tita Laughs. So I know we've spoken before about our Filipino-ness because it's part of our identity. How
Mhm.
important is it to you, Stacie?
I don't know, it's just, who I am. I feel like it's hard for me because I feel so Filipino. Like, I feel like it's such a huge part of my identity. But since people don't see me as Filipino or I don't speak Tagalog, like,
You even say Tagalog better than like most people. Just saying. Just saying.
but my face, like, just betrays, like, basically how I
Oh my
feel
gosh, that
inside.
is such a strong word. It betrays. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's like, I don't know, because people will be like, "Oh my God, you're Filipino," or like, "Oh no, no, you're not. No, you're not." Um, so I don't know. It's so hard because I feel so Filipino, but
Can I just
people
say
don't see
that
me
just
that
hurts
way.
my heart when they say, "No, you're not."
It's not like, "No, you're not,"
Oh,
like, "No, you're not," but it's like,
like they don't
"No,
believe it.
no, you're
Like
not."
they're like,
Yeah,
"What?" Like
yeah.
mind blown.
Like even Tyson, because my husband's mestizo as well, and he, like, when we went to Chase Market, like the auntie in there was like, "No, no, you're not," and he was like, "Yeah."
Bless their
She's like,
hearts.
"No, you look Mexican."
Oh, Tita, I'm not laughing at you. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
laughing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
laughing at the situation.
Yeah, and she's not
Mm,
the only one.
yeah.
So it's just a common thread, I feel, that like we've dealt with. Um and which we bonded over as well, but we also like will tease each other. Like I'll be like, "Someone thought I was Asian today." Like, ha.
I love the competitiveness that you two share.
Or he swears he looks so Filipino when he was little and he just grew out of it.
He grew out.
He's
Do
like,
his
"My nose got bigger." He's like, "I used to have a flatter Filipino nose." And he's like, "When something happened and now I don't look Filipino."
That is so hilarious because
And we both had bowl cuts.
it's
So,
it's so funny that it's the opposite because like being Filipino, it's like I can speak from my experience. It's like, oh no, I don't want the flat nose. It's like, oh, it got more pointy as I got older. You know, like you hear that where it's like
Exactly.
where you two, where you wanted to look more Filipino with the like the I don't want to say typical, but widely known like
Features.
shapes and features. And it's so interesting to hear that point of view.
Yeah.
You're like, well, some people think that I look Filipino, so there.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Marie? How important is being Filipino to you?
It's always been something I've been proud of. And I'm so happy that my dad and mom, but more so my dad would like make a big show of it, even because he's like the corny dad who would like, even at restaurants, would just like make, corny dad jokes and like play with the server,
Such a Filipino.
Yeah. But even like, at like big gatherings, whether it be like church or like, where there's a speaker in front trying to engage with a huge audience or something and like gives a shout out to different countries or whatever, like, oh, is anybody from here? Or where's the farthest distance? And when somebody says the Philippines, like my dad would always be like, whoa, yeah.
That's
Like,
so
and
cute.
I was like, oh, that makes me so proud. So that aspect
That's so cute.
of my identity was always ingrained. And I think because I'm the youngest of 3 Filipina girls, I would see how their identity shaped them and their Filipino-ness. So by the time I got to high school, my oldest sister was at UC Davis, and I had gone to my first like ever Filipino or Filipino American workshop. Yeah, where like
What's a Filipino American workshop?
I know. I don't know. UC Davis. I don't even know what it was called, but it was at like Davis or Sac State. I don't remember, but it was like a whole day's worth of like small groups and Filipinos, Filipino Americans, just learning about the culture. I remember very vividly a keynote speaker, really cute, by the way, but he was 5th generation Filipino.
Wow.
So, like, he definitely had that mestizo look, but he was so all about his heritage and was spitting this knowledge and, just
Very sexy.
I know it was. I was like, well, hello there. I was like 15 years old. I was like, who are you? 15. I was 15. But like, it was like the first time I was like around other people my age who were Filipino American, learning about their culture. So
Yeah.
early on, it was just like, oh, this is great. And always was around Filipinos my entire life.
I mean, just hearing the stories that you tell, I feel
Yeah.
like you were,
I was very
surrounded by
lucky in the Bay Area where I lived that we always had some sort of community, even within my classes, because even in a small Catholic school, our class happened to have a good number of Filipinos. So that was always like, again, we would even tag like Filipino pride or Pinoy power, or stuff like that. So yeah, it was always just a part of my life. And yeah.
I love
You
it.
can see it to this day
I
with
love
our
that
shirts. My sister, thank you, Manang Cheryl, who bought this for like my birthday, maybe like 5 years ago or something.
I love it.
If you can't see it, for those of you just listening, it's a Filipina Rosie the Riveter. Instead of her regular red bandana, it's a Filipino flag bandana, and on her like what is it? Her
Arm?
bicep,
Yeah,
where
bicep.
she's like flexing. Her tattoo is like, what is it? It's like
Filipino girl. And it has the Philippines with the heart.
I didn't even notice the Philippine Islands with the heart. You mentioned that earlier. Like, there is a heart, and that's where I'm from, or my family
I love
is
that
from.
shirt so much.
So yeah.
My sweatshirt says puñeta, which is probably the only Tagalog word I knew growing up because my dad would say it all the time. But my dad never spoke Tagalog.
What does it mean?
Shit.
I like how you said it very subtle.
I think. I mean, that's how he would use it, but he said it all the time. But didn't spoke mostly English.
How do you say it? Like when you actually are in the moment.
Oh my
of
gosh.
saying it.
How would he say it? Like, ay, puñeta or something. Puñeta. I don't know, girl. I don't say it. He would say it.
I love
no
hearing
idea.
these curse words, these Filipino curse words.
Oh, there's some bad ones.
Like, I don't know if I'm saying it right in Ilocano, but ukit naman. Like,
Ukit naman?
it means like your mother's vagina.
Oh, so I think ours is like putang ina mo.
Yeah, putang ina mo. I know that one for sure. Like,
yikes. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like your
I think
mother's
it's
a
close.
bitch too, right?
Yeah.
Or see you next Tuesday.
I was like, we're very specific with our Filipino curse words. Like, a lot of
I think my
female.
cousin said my aunt used to like say that to her, and she'd be like, "Haha," because she was basically talking about herself.
I
She was
know.
saying like your mom.
But this whole idea.
So
what?
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was
You were getting really
speaking about Filipino-ness. Marie got some tattoos over the weekend that I would love for her to tell us about.
Oh my gosh, I hope I don't butcher it. Sorry, Francis. Francis was the tattoo artist. Shout out
from what tattoo place?
Tribal Corner. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
The C or K? Corner.
K. Tribal Corner. And I promised him that we have to have him as a guest as well as his wife, Jonah, who are like doing their thing as Filipino artists, tattoo artists. And
is she a tattoo artist as well?
She does paintings, I believe.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, her paintings are gorgeous. Yeah. But she can speak, coming from that perspective of being from the Philippines and like growing up there and then immigrating here in this generation too. So I was like, oh, this is so fascinating. This would be wonderful to have here. Her on one episode and then her husband on another. But like, shout out to Francis with the tattoo.
Can you hold it?
So, that's right. I can't see. I don't know. Let's do the mid and then my close up there. So This is a centipede. I believe it's Gayaman or Gayaman. It's a very universal cultural symbol, like not only in the Philippines, but other countries, but especially in the Philippines and for my dad's side, the tribal Igorot side, and specifically my Ibaloy tribe, because I did all the research and looked at like these scholarly publications. I
So you're
made
not getting
sure
something
I'm like
wrong
some
on it?
random, and it specifically said, yeah, and some of the mummies that they found from like centuries ago, specifically the Ibaloy, I was like, yep, those are my people. They're like, yep, they found like centipedes, scorpions.
Tattooed on them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I mean, not just one like this, but
Sure.
like crazy patterns. But then there would see like insects like this besides the tribal patterns and stuff all over their body. So I was like, okay, this is like one piece to represent that. And Francis was saying how he's like, I'm getting warrior vibe from you.
I love it.
It's not only because like I'm a hardcore Warriors fan from the Bay Area. Yeah, Warriors, Bay Area. But also like I think I had just been thinking about my tribal heritage and that like them being warriors and like going to battle. And then I think 2 other people had mentioned it that week before I got my tattoo. Like the word warrior just kept coming up. And so when Francis said it a 3rd time, I was like, okay, that's done.
Yeah.
Like
settled.
he's like, yeah, settled. He's like, he's like, yeah, I want like a warrior shield. Like you're like a warrior queen. So
a warrior queen.
yeah. So he's like, you need a shield just because like you're with everything that you've told me, what you're doing in your life and like giving back to the community and you're like claiming your roots with your ancestry. Like I want something to like protect you and just giving you strength and representing your Igor roots. All of the above. And the centipede is like, you know, these are like crazy
what does
motherfuckers.
it stand for, like a centipede?
Because like centipede, like
significance?
you know when they think about the centipede, because like very dangerous. Like when they like
poisonous.
when they're very poisonous, like potentially could kill you. So if you can survive that, like
I watched a Naked and Afraid in the Philippines, and they had crazy centipedes. So Naked and Afraid is like a reality show where like 2 survivalists go naked and afraid into different areas of the world that are like uninhabited and try to survive for 21 days. Getting their own food, building their own shelters. And so they were in the Philippines once and they had these massive centipedes that were very like poisonous, I believe. So
that's yeah. See, I don't really know.
No.
And they said like, so if you can survive that, or even just the strength of a centipede, like that's supposed to give you strength.
Wow.
So like because it's just that animal just represents so much. So yeah, did not know what I was going to get when I was there, but had a long talk with a tattoo artist, settled
I
with
love that he
this.
dives into like who you are
Yeah.
and you know your
Where
family,
you're
your
from.
background, your
Yeah.
ancestors to really
what you're doing in your life now and how that pertains to your
feels very
ancestry.
spiritual.
That's what he would say a lot. He's like, this is a sacred space. Even like, it's like even having the experience with you, you're sharing this space with me. Thank you. It's like experience. Again, it's not just some random person tattooing you. And again, it's the
Yes, so I hate pain, I hate needles, and I hate blood, so I would never get a tattoo at this point. But tell us about the process.
This was the like one of the many old school ways of doing it, the hand poke. So not the gun, but like dot by dot by dot, like hundreds of times.
So smooth, like it doesn't.
Oh, because it's stabbing.
But you can.
Because but like when it's healed and done, it'll still have a grainy look, like compared to my other tattoos that are like, you know, look how smooth that is compared to that. When that heals, when you look closer, you'll see more of a grainy look, which isn't. I like that. It has a more tribal feel to it. But you know, I don't know if it's just I have a high tolerance of pain.
You must.
Because I was bracing myself.
I don't even think it's the pain for me. I think it's the idea of something piercing my skin like that. is
But
horrifying.
he doesn't go that deep. And he has a very light touch. And he even told me that before. He's like, I actually have a really light touch compared to most people. And he really does. And even with my like, you know, when you have injections or here, or like even doing phlebotomy, which I did back in the day.
Yeah.
Those needles go way further in. Here it's just the surface because you're just tapping it with like ink every so often. But yeah, you do feel it obviously because like you're constantly going over it over and over and over again. But it's really not that bad.
I'll take
It's
your word
not.
for it. And what about your other one though? You got two.
The other one, it's in Baybayin, which is Filipino script. And so this ancient, I want to say quote alphabet, it's not really letters, it's by sounds. So it means, I chose the word love in Ilocano, which is ayat. And so it's 3 characters right here. Yeah, it's scabbing already because it's healing.
Is that supposed to be like a sensitive area to get?
That's what they said. Yeah, because it's closer to this inner elbow area. So I felt it definitely more here, but luckily it's smaller surface area to here. But again, not that bad. No. So.
And I love how like there's people like Francis who are really like keeping alive this tradition of like these tribal tattoos and like the significance that they have. But I love that there's also this juxtaposition of a lot of Filipinos who don't like tattoos at all. So I wonder where that changed to where like, you know, it was such a sign of identity for like different tribes and but now cuz like my husband has sleeves and they're not Filipino, they're Japanese, but when we first started, I think when we first got engaged, my old coworker was Filipina. And after she had met Tyson, she came up to me and she was like, because he had come into my work a lot, but no one had really talked to him. But then she ended up speaking with him after we got engaged. And she came up to me and she was like, Stacie, your husband, he's very nice. Before when I saw him and he had the tattoos, I was scared, but he's actually very nice. And when my dad was told that he had like sleeve tattoos, he was not happy.
What was his reaction?
Now my brother's covered in tattoos.
What did your dad say?
God, what did he say? I don't think he said anything. I think he was just like, look, gross. Yeah, and now he adores Tyson.
Of course. Yeah. See, because there's these judgments. These preconceived judgments of what tattoos are and these associations. I think like, oh, people automatically think, oh, criminal, or you just came from prison, or gang member. I was like, what?
But I wonder what changed when like, you know, our ancestors, like that was a big part of the culture.
I know.
And then it was like looked frowned upon.
I know.
So I'm not
do
sure.
people just forget about the past? And like, I was like, do you not know that our ancestors, like many, like all throughout the islands, people got these, you know, it wasn't just for show. It represented something. Like, I think I was like doing some research, like it represented like celebrations or if you won a battle over like rival tribe or if you like, you know, some headhunter
so was it like
killed
a prize?
somebody.
Or like a symbol of like honor.
Yeah, a symbol of honor or like just again representation. And I mean, there has to be some aspect of decorative art too. Like of course it represents something, but it's beautiful when you see it because it's not random when they have these images on these bodies because we see like
they tell a story.
And so it is interesting. Like I've been thinking about, you know, like what you're saying of like the different generational and cultural views, especially of Filipinos towards these tattoos, because I think my parents were similar to your dad of like, yeah.
Not for
they
me.
would probably have the same, but I think I eased my parents into me having tattoos. I still don't have many. I only have like 4 now. My dad doesn't know I got these 2. But he should be proud.
Yeah, what would you think? What do you think he'd feel about
I think he would be very
them,
proud
knowing the
because
story?
it's specifically this one is for, I was like, Daddy, I did it for like our Igoroid background, you
Aw.
know?
Mhm.
And if he doesn't get it, I'm like, let me school you, Dad.
Yeah. My
Like,
brother
about our
did not
jobs.
ease my dad into his tattoos. My
He
brother
just-
has so many. He has like huge ones.
Did he just
all-
show up too and just be like, hi, Dad?
I don't remember, but my dad was just like
I think I showed my mom my like spiritual tattoos 1st, and I got like one at a time. And I was like, look, Mom, this one says God. on it." And we were in church when I told her to.
So she can't get mad.
Exactly. We were sitting in the pew. I think it was my nephew, one of my nephews, like first communion or something.
Oh God, what'd she
I
say?
was like, she's like, oh, that's nice. So like, oh, did it hurt? Yeah. So it was like easing her way into it. And my second one was spiritual too. It's from like Mark chapter 5, verse 41. Talitha Kum. And she was like, oh yeah, I know that quote, the story. So it's slowly eased her. So I told my mom about the two that I was getting for my birthday. And I think she was very happy about the ayat because it's an Ilocano. And she's like, oh, love.
How cute.
So I eased them in. So hopefully, I think they're like slowly opening their minds to it. I don't know what their take is on sleeves though. Like for your dad, if that
If you
makes
came
a
home with
difference.
sleeves.
Yeah. But like my best friend from high school, Drea, shout out, love you. She has beautiful sleeves. Like she's this like great DJ in New York, darling Chuck. And they love Drea. So if they saw Drea today, because they haven't seen her, like how she looks now with her sleeves, I think that would open their mind to it because they know her. They've known her since we were in high school.
They know she's not a criminal.
Exactly. They know she's not a criminal. But that is so wild. I wonder if like, I mean, my parents are proof that they slowly can change and open up their minds with time, but there are definitely still people who are very judgmental with tattoos
absolutely.
in general.
And I mean, like, I don't even know if my dad's accepted. There's nothing he can do. It's not his body.
I know. It's like, sorry, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But I know, like, I think I was talking with Christine, and she was saying, I don't know if somebody in her family was saying how, like, oh yeah, like some parents might think, well, what are you gonna do at a job interview? Like, I was like, there's a lot of people working out there with sleeves, and you can still cover it up, but like I see it more often now.
Yeah.
That I don't think it's
not
a big
like it's on your
deal.
face.
I know. And some people do have it on their face.
Yeah.
Which is like, but it's not on my face. And it's weird because like some people are even getting it. I don't know many, but some people are getting theirs like lasered off.
Removed.
Yeah. Removed.
That's a big.
I don't think I'll ever get to that point because mine are very significant to me.
They mean something.
They mean something to me. Like I don't go out on a whim.
Yeah.
Some people do that, like just like, oh, I'm just gonna get this.
That's
and,
another
like,
thing with me and tattoos is I don't know if I'd want something on my body for the rest of my life, you know, but something like that where it's meaningful, like I love, but I'd have to put a lot of thought into it.
It took a lot of thought because there was a long lapse between my second one and these two. And I knew I had wanted my future ones to do with my Filipino heritage.
Yeah.
So that's why when it like the time came, I was just like, ooh, yes, it is time. It is a new year. I'm gonna give it for my birthday. And I found somebody who can do the like hand poking, traditional. It's like, this is awesome because it, like you said, it's like this resurgence.
Yeah.
Like in the past few years of like, there's many people doing this nowadays. Like even up in the Bay Area, like there's famous people like on their IG and like just branching out and like,
wow,
spreading the love.
Yeah, I love it. But ow.
I think I've like, it's grown like my pain tolerance because I was like, if one day I want to have children, that's probably going to be the most
Oh God, I hope
painful
so.
experience in the world. And that can last several hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then compared to just like these tattoos, which was like about 4 hours, I was like, not that bad.
Yeah.
And Francis, like he calls it talkesthesia. You know, like anesthesia, talkesthesia, like
Does
where
he just keep talking?
he's just talking and we're laughing the entire. It's like this. It's like you have to come on the podcast.
I don't know if I could sit. I'd be like, "Can you shut up, please? This is so
but
painful."
It's so distracting,
really,
because he's a great like communicator and has great stories that you're like listening to him and you're like, oh my gosh, that you're like forgetting what's happening. Yeah, you're looking, you're like, oh, it hurts a little bit, but like I was so engaged in the storytelling. I was just like, oh yeah, and time just flew by. And like, because like again, as Filipinos as we do, like we're laughing the entire time also. So that added to the experience of like, oh, coming all full circle with like the heritage and everything.
I love it. And it just happened yesterday.
This? Like,
oh no, Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh, it's been almost a week. Why do I not know what day it is?
Yeah. Somewhere sometime. Yeah, it's been almost a week.
Wow.
Yeah. So went by very quickly. I know. But yeah, it's wild with how like you know what I wonder about though? I know that you see it more so with Filipino Americans here with tattoos. I wonder about Filipinos in the homeland.
Oh.
Do you know anything about that? I don't know, because the paper that I read, that was published in a university in the Philippines. So I wonder if there's a resurgence going on there too with the traditional hand poking.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it's like for people in the Philippines, whether it's like people outside of those regions, if it's still something that's like important to them, like it is to you, to like keep that part of the culture alive.
I haven't like brushed up on my like TFC in a while, but I just can't imagine. I don't think I recall seeing any actors or characters, you know, having sleeves
on screen.
You know, like I don't think I see, or even like ads or like, you know, marketing.
No, but everyone's very clean cut.
Very clean
that I've seen.
And very light skinned.
Very light. And like contacts and like blonde hair. I'm like, oh my god.
It's like, where am I?
Yeah. It's crazy.
We're gonna have plenty of stories and guests to like speak on that.
Yes.
So many things to talk about.
Very exciting.
Good
soon to come.
To be continued.